Think about that chilling feeling you get right after watching a horror movie late at night, when you're completely alone in the dark, and every little noise makes your heart race. Now, imagine that terrifying feeling wasn't just in your head. Imagine it was real. That is exactly what happened to a man named Tony Pickman. An invisible force left deep, bloody scratches across his skin. It happened inside America's most haunted home, the Sallie House. Today, from silent screams, let's look into the true story behind this cursed house.
Silent screams!
It all started in December 1993, when a young couple, Tony and Debbie Pickman, moved into this house. Debbie was pregnant, and they were looking for the perfect cozy home to start their new family. From the outside, the house looked beautiful and completely normal. They had no idea about its dark history. But the very first night they slept there, the welcoming was anything but peaceful. Tony woke up freezing, even though the heating was turned up high. And then, he heard a strange sound coming from the empty hallway. Tony stepped out into the hallway, his heart pounding. The sound was like soft, heavy breathing right in front of him, but the dark corridor was completely empty. Over the next few days, things got even weirder. The temperature inside the house would drop instantly, turning freezing cold in just seconds. Even worse, their family dog started acting strange. It would stare at empty walls for hours, low growling at something no one else could see. Debbie tried to ignore it, thinking it was just an old house. But then, they found something in the kitchen that changed everything. In the kitchen, they found all the cabinet doors wide open and the heavy iron frying pan stacked perfectly in the middle of the floor. No one had touched them, but the real terror started a few months later, right after Debbie gave birth to their baby boy. Every single night, exactly at 3 a.m., the baby's room would turn ice cold. The baby would suddenly wake up gasping for air and crying in sheer terror, as if someone, or something, was standing right over his crib, watching him in the dark. As weeks went by, the strange entity in the house grew bolder. It started messing with the baby's toys. Tony and Debbie would wake up to the sound of electronic toys turning on by themselves, playing creepy music in the dead of night, even though the batteries had been completely removed. But the most chilling part happened in the morning. They would walk into the living room and find the toys arranged in perfect, neat circles on the floor. It was as if an invisible child had been playing there all night. And soon, they were about to see her face. One night, Tony woke up feeling a strange presence in the living room. He quietly walked downstairs, and there, standing right in the corner, was the shadow of a little girl. She looked about 6 years old, wearing a vintage dress. Tony froze in shock, but instead of attacking, the little girl's spirit just stood there, looking completely lost and sad. After a few seconds, she slowly faded into the darkness. Tony realized they weren't dealing with an angry monster, but a lonely child. Or so he thought. The little girl started appearing more often, mostly around the baby's crib. She didn't seem angry, she just wanted to play. Through a psychic friend who visited the house, the spirit finally communicated her name. She said she was Sallie. Tony and Debbie felt sorry for her. They genuinely believed that the ghost of little Sallie was just a harmless, lonely child protecting their baby. They thought they could peacefully live together, but they were completely wrong. Because very soon, Sallie's innocent face was about to change into pure evil. Almost overnight, the entire vibe of the house changed. The playful, childlike energy was completely gone. A heavy, suffocating darkness filled every room, and walking through the front door felt like stepping into a freezer. Tony and Debbie started feeling constantly exhausted, irritated, and paranoid, as if they were being hunted. The air grew so thick with evil that even their guests refused to stay. It was clear that whatever was inside the house had stopped pretending to be nice, and its very first target was about to be chosen. One afternoon, Debbie and the baby went out, leaving Tony completely alone in the house. He was working in the basement when the air around him suddenly turned burning hot. Before he could even turn around, he felt a sharp, ripping pain across his back. It felt like his skin was literally on fire. Tony ran to the bathroom, pulled up his shirt, and stared at the mirror in absolute horror. There were 3 deep, bloody scratches carved right into his flesh. Something invisible had just physically attacked him, and this was only the beginning of its hatred. What made this entity truly terrifying was that it only targeted Tony. Debbie and the baby were never touched. A few nights later, while Tony was fast asleep, he suddenly felt a freezing hand grab his ankle. Before he could even scream, he was violently dragged off the bed and across the floor by his feet. Debbie woke up to Tony's terrified shouts, only to see her husband being pulled into the darkness by an invisible force. It was no longer a haunting, it was a battle for survival. Desperate for answers and fearing for Tony's life, the couple decided they couldn't handle this alone. They called in professional paranormal investigators and video crews. They wanted to capture proof of what was happening inside the house. The experts set up high-tech cameras, audio recorders, and equipment everywhere, expecting to wait days for any activity. But the entity inside the Sallie house didn't hide from the cameras. In fact, it was ready to put on a terrifying show for the entire world to see. As soon as the cameras started rolling, the Sallie house went completely wild. The crew watched in absolute shock as heavy objects began flying across the rooms on their own. Strange, unexplainable shadows darted past the camera lenses, and audio recorders picked up chilling electronic voice phenomena, whispering Tony's name over and over. But the most terrifying moment was caught on tape during a live interview. Right in front of the rolling cameras, Tony suddenly screamed in pain, and everyone watched as fresh, bloody scratches magically appeared on his chest. After seeing the live attacks, the paranormal investigators realized something smelled wrong. A harmless 6-year-old ghost girl could never possess this kind of brutal, violent strength. They studied the recordings and realized a terrifying truth. The spirit had lied about her name. It wasn't little Sallie. It was an ancient, powerful demon using the innocent form of a child to gain their trust. And now that its true identity was exposed, the demon stopped hiding. It was ready to possess Tony completely. The demon began torturing Tony from the inside out, starting with his mind. Every time he closed his eyes, he was trapped in horrific nightmares of violence and blood. During the day, Tony started hearing a dark, raspy voice inside his own head, whispering terrible things, telling him to hurt himself. Debbie watched in horror as her husband slowly changed, becoming aggressive, cold, and losing his mind. It was clear that the entity was trying to break Tony's spirit so it could take complete control of his body, and they were running out of time. Realizing Tony was losing his mind, Debbie begged a local priest to bless the house and perform a cleansing ritual. But the moment the priest stepped inside and started reciting holy prayers, the demon retaliated. The holy water on the table literally began to boil, and a foul, rotting smell filled the entire air. Suddenly, the priest felt a massive chest pain and suffocating pressure, forcing him to run out of the house in terror. The message was clear. No one could save them. With no one left to help them, Tony and Debbie made the only choice they had: pack their bags and leave the Sallie house forever. But the demon wasn't going to let them escape that easily. As they rushed to the front door, every light bulb in the house exploded. Plunged into total darkness, Tony was violently shoved down the wooden staircase by unseen hands, leaving him bruised and bleeding. They were completely trapped inside a pitch-black nightmare, and the demon was standing between them and the only way. Bleeding and broken at the bottom of the stairs, Tony looked up at his crying wife and baby. He knew that if he didn't fight back right now, they would all die. Summoning every ounce of courage left in his body, Tony stood up and screamed directly into the darkness, challenging the demon. While the entity focused its heavy, choking wrath on Tony, Debbie used that exact split second to unlock the heavy front door. They burst out into the cold night air, leaving their belongings behind, running as fast as their legs could carry them away from that hellhole. Tony and Debbie never spent another single night in that house. They broke their lease and moved far away, leaving the nightmare behind to heal from their trauma. The Sallie house stood completely empty and silent once again, but the evil inside it didn't sleep. Neighbors reported hearing heavy footsteps and crying sounds coming from the locked house late at night. It was as if the demon was waiting in the shadows, trapped in the empty rooms, hungry and angry, waiting for its next victims to step inside. Years later, the Sallie House became a famous hotspot for ghost hunters and YouTubers. They brought night vision cameras, hoping to spend the night and get viral views. But they quickly realized the demon hadn't lost its power. As soon as the lights went out, the terror began all over again. Modern creators have been scratched, pushed, and filled with sudden, unexplained terror. Some even ran out of the house within minutes, leaving their expensive gear behind. The house remains a living nightmare, proving that the evil inside is very real. And now, it's time for the final truth. Today, the Sallie House stands in silence, but its dark history is far from dead. Experts believe that the demonic entity inside was never truly banished. It is bound to that land, locked forever within those old wooden walls. It remains a chilling reminder that some doors, once opened, can never be closed, and some evils are too powerful to defeat. The Pickman family survived to tell their story, but the house continues to wait for anyone foolish enough to doubt its power. If you ever visit Atchison, Kansas, remember this story, because in the dark, Sallie is still watching. If you love this chilling mystery and want to see more hidden dark secrets from around the world, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Stay tuned for more terrifying, real-life stories. Sleep well, if you can.